Mixing non-stop with the hottest DJ.
I'm your host, Joshua Diaz.
Non-stop.
There is no investigation. This boy has...
There is not, really? It is to me.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
But I have to put her on the side and where
I'm gonna do what I gotta do for me and my boys and my kids.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
There is no investigation. This boy
There
has...
is not, really? It is to me. Right, idiot.
I've done my best. It's hard, it's real tough.
But I have to put her on the side and worry about the boys.
I'm gonna do what I gotta do for me and my boys and my kids.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
Live from the NBD Production Studios, you're in the lab with your host, Joshua Diaz.
There is no investigation. This boy has...
There is not, really? It is to me. But I have to put her on the side and worry about the boys.
What's up?
But I have to...
There
What's
is no
up?
investigation.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
But I have to put her... But I have to put her on the side and worry about the boys.
Welcome to the lab. I'm your host, Joshua Diaz. Good afternoon. This is a awkward time for me to be on, but here I am. I kind of wanted to test something out today, and so I figured I would do it this afternoon so I don't make a complete a-hole out of myself in front of, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Make an a-hole out of myself. That's what I do. But at the very top of the chat's pinned is a link. I can take callers through that link. And we'll see how that works. Probably not well, but who knows? Duty, good to see you, dude. Let's see. No. Let's see. Where'd you go? I think I lost her. I was going to say hi. That would be Dodie, not Duty. How are you? It's good to see you. Anyway, welcome to the lab, everybody. How's everybody doing today? It is, I think it's just a little after 2:30. It's 2:37. I'm 7 minutes late. That's late. It's pretty late. I mean, by any other job, you'd get fired for that, probably, right? 7 minutes? 7 minutes you get fired for? That's a lot, I guess, but, Oh, well. Sorry. Anyway, so really fast, I did want to talk a little bit about last night's show. And like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed the show. I had a good time doing the show. And I know that my personality is such that I try to be as entertaining as possible, and sometimes I fail miserably when I do. But sometimes I do feel like maybe I push the envelope a little bit, and maybe it's not so I don't even remember the guy's name yesterday. but he obviously seemed distressed in the chat. And for a while, I thought he was kind of joking with the way that he was talking. And as it went on longer and longer, I started to feel like there was nothing. He wasn't joking. He was very serious. And in no way, shape, or form am I trying to mock anybody or make fun of them, or it's just when we talk about these cases and everybody is super hyper focused. Yeah, Travis. Super hyper focused and upset, and everybody wants to have an opinion, which is totally fine. So I do want people to understand that, like, that's not the point of the show. These are very serious topics, and I don't think that I could cover them if, you know, I didn't goof around a little bit here and there and you know, say stupid stuff. That's one thing that I'm really known for, is saying stupid stuff. I do it quite often. And it's just, I just wanted to make sure and let everybody know that it's not my intention to mock somebody who is obviously feels a certain way about a certain topic. And I know that a lot of us feel different. Some people trust the police. Some people don't trust the police. Some people think this investigation is going one way. Some people think this investigation is going another way. Some people don't, like me, you know, don't really know. And I want to make it clear that we are all obviously allowed to feel how we want to feel and express what we want to express. But I also do feel like I've kind of been lending myself a little bit to riling up the chat sometimes, and people really start going at each other. And we typically don't have a lot of that here at all. And we haven't still, like, compared to other channels or other rooms or whatever the frig you want to call them. It's like just weird, you know, like, when we start kind of chomping at each other. And like I said, the man yesterday was obviously distressed about this situation. I don't know him, nor do I know his mental state. And so I personally have to take that stuff into consideration. I'm not beating myself up, and I'm not upset, overly upset. I'm not, you know, pissed off. I'm not anything. I just wanted to make that very clear that it just got to be a little much. I think everybody can understand it got a little much. Like it was kind of started to really make me a bit uncomfortable, and it's not that easy to make me feel uncomfortable, especially during my own show. Like, I make everybody else uncomfortable usually. Also not my goal, but I got a little uncomfortable. And so I just want to make sure that I want people to know that that's not my intention. It's never been my intention. It'll never be my intention. I just didn't want to push it any further than I did. And I do apologize that happened. And I did not want to make him the topic, but I did. And I failed. And so I feel bad about that. But, you know, we're going to move on. So anyway, Moscow police, I found this very interesting. I hadn't listened to this yet. I did want to play it for you, and then we'll get some reaction on the other side. Go ahead and let's just take a listen.
All right, we're covering this story very close.
I'm not going to play the video. But this is from, I'm going to play the audio. This is from Fox News. I think it's just Fox News. But let's just take a listen to this.
And breaking moments ago, brand new information from the police chief who sat down with Fox to talk about this case, the killing of these 4 young, beautiful students at the University of Idaho who were stabbed to death in their beds in their off-campus home more than 3 weeks ago.
This case is not going cold. We have tips coming in. We have investigators out every day interviewing people. We're still reviewing evidence. We're still looking at all aspects of this. And I said early on that no stone will go unturned. And I mean that. We are going to continue. This case is not going cold.
Well, we know these families want some resolution. They want this person found and convicted. Correspondent Alexis McAdams reporting live from Moscow, Idaho. Tell us, Alexis, what you learned when you sat down with the chief.
Hi, Martha. Well, first off, I mean, this was pretty much one of the first times we've been able to see the chief getting pretty emotional about this case. He went to this university. He's lived in this community for years. He has a family of his own, and he was breaking down through tears, telling me this case is personal for him, working around the clock to find the killer. Listen.
I'm a dad with daughters, and that's tough. You know, we're human. We don't go to these and just turn it off. It affects us, but we have a job to do, and we're going to continue to do that job. We're going to continue to push forward.
It's been nearly 1 month since these innocent college kids murdered here in Moscow, Idaho, in that off-campus house that still is surrounded by crime tape, Martha. Investigators tell me they're interviewing people every single day, looking for information that helps them piece this together and really trying to figure out the timeline of the night when these students were murdered. Now we're learning more about people and theories that investigators are ruling out for now. Police tell me they did interview 2 guys in connection to a tip that Kaylee Gonsalves had a stalker in town. This stemmed from an incident back in October when Kaylee told some of her friends that a guy was following her around a local business and it creeped her out enough that she told her friends. Police don't believe those people are connected to the murders. Now, another update involving Kaylee's dog, which you can see here in this TikTok video that she posted a while back. Investigators say her dog was in the house at the time of the murders, but had no evidence on it, so they don't believe, Martha, it was in any of the rooms when the crime was committed. Back out here live in front of the police department, once again, that chief breaking down, wanting the community, and most importantly, Martha, wanting the families like Kaylee's dad to know they're doing everything they can to find the killer. And they say just because they're not releasing so much information doesn't mean they don't have it.
Yeah. Just a quick question. Did you get a sense from him that they know things that they are not allowed to share at this point? I mean, what's your sense of how, do they seem to be lost at this point for ideas or really honing in on something?
Yeah, great question. And actually, from what we've been able to gather from the police here on the ground is that they've got a pretty good timeline and they've got a pretty good amount of information. They say if they didn't have information, that's when they would go to the public and say some of these little bits and pieces more about who they think this person is, what this person might have, if they left on foot, if this person even as a man or woman, little things that we asked if they could confirm. They said not right now because we're on the right track. We've got a lot of evidence and we feel good about the direction this case is heading.
Yeah. We know that Kaylee's mom said that she was afraid that the killer would show up at the memorial service and that they needed to pay more attention to some of the people that were dismissed and cleared. And I know we saw that soundbite a moment ago. He said nobody is cleared forever, right?
Exactly, yeah. Just because they're talking to these people who are coming in even to the police department by day when we're here, these college students, they're saying that just because they talk to them doesn't mean they're not going to re-interview them, Martha.
Alexis, great work. Thank you very much.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe.
No, thanks, Sean. Okay, so the chief of police is saying, look, that this case is not going cold. We're not going to let it go cold. From what I gather, the definition of a cold case is when they run out of information and the investigation can no longer going forward because there's no credible information to work off of. It sounds to me as though they have some idea of what's going on. They just said that they have a pretty good idea of timeline. They're just not giving up anything to the public, and because it sounds like that they don't need to at this moment, that they're going in a certain direction, and that they have information, that they know much more, and how they couldn't know much more than is out in the public would be, that would just be unfathomable. But once again, I truly do believe that these cases like this, they get solved, but maybe just not in quote unquote a timely fashion. Yes, they have a case to build. They have people to interview, re-interview, loose ends. And that's what I've always kind of felt, is that they've always kind of had somebody in mind, or, a certain, a certain somebody in mind, or not even a certain somebody, but, like the fraternity, now they're kind of zeroing in on the fraternity. And it's just one of those things where you're going, okay, so what exactly do they know? And then all of a sudden one day you wake up and there's an arrest. And I think that's how this is going to go as well. Let's see. Mindful Mama Ray. I feel like this will be solved. I understand her dad's frustration, but I feel like it definitely takes longer than a few weeks to get their ducks in a row. I mean, it certainly does. No, nobody's just coming out, raising their hand, admitting to what happened. Lisa says the other parents seem solilied? Something there? I haven't seen that word written down. I haven't. I don't know if I've ever seen that word written down. God, Lisa's smart. Why only one family so verbal? That just shows you I'm dumb. This one family needs a social worker and family systems therapist to help them. I agree with that. I think that they should be offered resources, and maybe they have, and maybe he doesn't care. Maybe he doesn't care. He's upset. Yeah, dude, Lisa with those $50 words. Urban for chilled. I don't know if it's urban, right? Is it urban? I don't know what does that mean? I know what urban is, but I don't know if it's urban. Although Lisa knows her words better than I do, apparently. Urban for chilled. I don't know. You think so? I get way too caught up on that. Urban for chilled. I don't think so. Really, Lisa? Wow. Just use your normal people words. I'm just kidding. I would be horrible to deal with. Look, most of us would. Most of us would. Redirected. Is urban the same thing? This is not a road I want to go down. Because I understand what she's saying, but it's going to get misconstrued. Probably mostly by me. Gotta go run off to Christmas magic. I'll have to catch up on the replay. Merry Christmas. A little comic relief. It's a form of slang. I know what urban is. I think. Let's see here. Dogs with jobs. Yeah, Josh, I've read that they aren't the smartest dogs either, but I'm not sure I have had one, but the guy who crossbred and created the golden doodle said it was his worst mistake. They're really cute. I don't know that much about golden dudes. Golden dudes. Golden dudes. So it's like golden dudes. So stupid. Strawberry Kisses is always late, but we welcome you in with open arms. Golden dudes. What does this show become? Okay, well, now we're talking. Border Collie are the smartest dogs. Yeah, golden dudes are great. I was trying to that's urban for golden doodle. Yeah, exactly. Urban for people like them because they don't shed. Yeah, and they're like, what is it? Hypoallergenic? They're hypoallergenic. I'm not sure what that means either, but I know that they are. And that's awesome. It's all right. Strawberry Kisses. Was it you that was saying that I kept spelling Michael Vaughn's name wrong, which is true? You've taken a hard left, Josh. I know. I'm sorry. I really am sorry. I did want to play something else, though. Let's just take a listen to this.
Police in Moscow, Idaho say that today they will be boxing up sentimental belongings from the house and returning them to the victims' families, the 4 students who were killed, their families. Police are also zeroing in on the fraternity, the Sigma Chi house, where 2 of the victims were last seen. Their exact locations, though, between 9 p.m. and 1:45 a.m. when they got home, that is what is still unknown, at least publicly. Police are asking for any local surveillance video to help fill in the gaps in that timeline. Joining us now to talk more about the case, Joseph Scott Morgan. He is a distinguished scholar of applied forensics at Jacksonville State University and hosts a true crime podcast called Body Bags. Thank you for being with us this morning. I want to start with something that you said in your podcast. You talked about the initial response to the crime scene, and you said that the perimeter that was secured was not wide enough. Explain what you mean by that.
Well, what it means is that, once you set that boundary, that everybody's familiar with when you see the yellow tape, that's set in stone. And if you look at that from a legal perspective, you can always contract that, but the fact that you can't expand it once you've set that marker is a real problem, particularly if you move forward with prosecution in this particular case. Because if you find something outside that, and I'm talking about in a physical sense relative to the approximate area, then anybody on the defense side can say, well, how do we know that that area was secured? How do we know that that didn't show up later? And it raises reasonable doubt. So our premise in forensics is that you set very broadly, you set very wide, okay, and then you can always contract, but you cannot go back and expand most of the time. So I feel as though that they probably should have expanded it out further. And look, I know that it's an inconvenience for people that, try to get through there and that live there and all that, but we're talking about a quadruple homicide. All right. So everything must be locked down. And that goes to a bigger issue. They're kind of talking about releasing the scene. And we're already seeing a bit of that now where they're talking about releasing these items out of the house.
And do you think they should not release the scene yet?
No, probably not. But, that's on them. Even if you look at Parkland, which we covered, extensively, that building, that structure at Parkland was locked down for a very, very long time. We have 4 young people that have lost their lives savagely, and you cannot go back and recreate this to the point where it's as pristine as you can possibly get it at this moment in time. What's it going to hurt just to lock it down and have it there for a bit longer until everything has been exhausted at this point? Again, I'm just speculating at this point. We don't know what they have and have not done. But for me, just kind of thinking about this, I wonder how many other sets of eyes they've had on this, how many other experts have they had to come in and analyze the scene. I just hope that they've collected all the data, because once it's gone, it's gone.
Right. So let's talk about the forensics and real specifically about the process of going through this crime scene. Investigators first to it to see what had actually happened. Once they understand what they had on their hands, what do you think should have been the first step at that point?
Get everybody out of there that was non-essential personnel. Everybody. I mean, no one walking through, not some kind of local politician.
This is a forensics professor. I don't know where he's from. Let me see if I can tell you here. Joseph Scott Morgan of Jacksonville State University in Alabama. Doesn't think the police should release the scene yet, though. Okay.
Or anybody else, it is locked down at that point in time. You have strict accountability, whoever's going to walk through that. And that way you're able to assess that scene step by step by step, and you're not contaminating. The scene is already just absolutely rife with DNA evidence. And I don't mean that specific to the potential perpetrator in this case, Marnie. I'm talking about,
rife. I haven't heard that word either in a long time. What is going on? Mr. Thesaurus
This was known
here.
as a party house. So you've got all kinds of touch DNA that's laying around there, and it's very, very fragile. Think 100 times more fragile.
Gabrielle,
than talcum
thank you.
powder, all right, and it's all throughout
For
the
becoming
house
elaborate.
because you've had people mingling in there, and then you have the more evidence-rich DNA that source through blood and these sorts of things. So everything in there is very, very fragile. And look, it's not every day. Listen, you're not going to watch the news and find evidence out there of a quadruple sharp-edged force homicide. This is a rarity. This does not happen. Even in some big city, it doesn't happen like this. So they might have been unprepared to deal with this, and that's certainly probably the case. It's no fault of their own. Who would have expected this to happen? But once it happens, everything must be locked down, and you process it step by step by step, very methodically.
Well, it's a complicated case. I'm wondering,
Yes,
do
it
you
is.
think that good police work will be what cracks it, or the killer slips up?
I got to tell you, Marnie, I always look to the science because I'm a science guy, but nothing defeats good old-fashioned shoe leather on the part of the police officers, where they take the science and stuff that's processed at the scene and then eventually analyzed in the lab. You give that data over to them, and then they begin to pick through it. In addition to all of the other circumstantial evidence that they develop as investigators. And you have to have a tight team. It has to have very tight boundaries, a closed bubble, if you will, where no information is really coming out, and you protect all of that stuff. And you do all of the calculus within that bubble, and then you move forward with a plan. I know people don't want to hear that, but that's the reality of it. And that's how this case is going to be solved.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation.
So, I mean, I really do, it's frustrating because, and I've spoke about this before on the show, that like our lives are based off instant gratification. That's kind of the era that we live in. God, I'm not very smart. Everything is fast, instant, email, internet, Google, instant rice, top ramen, grilled cheese, ham and grilled cheese, a little tomato soup, maybe, cheddar cheese. And, we really have to be reasonable with our expectations. I mean, barely a month in, and we're talking about this case going cold. And I don't think, first of all, I don't think that is fair to the investigation. I think that it panics the parents and the victim's family. So I really do think that, we're doing a major disservice by saying, this case is going to go cold a month into the investigation. A month in. So, I try to always kind of side, like in the Summer Wells investigation, I back the cops forever. And I still try to. A crimson crime. Are you sleeping? I don't even know what the hell that means. Like, what does that mean? What a waste of time that was, huh? No, it's not cold. Of course it's not cold. I think that they should hold every secret back that they have to from anybody that they need to, including family, if it is advantageous of the investigation. It would behoove them to do this. Advantageous, behoove. No, I wasn't asleep. I was clearly awake. I was just daydreaming. Just daydreaming a little bit. It took 6 weeks where I live to catch the murder of 2 teens that happened a few months ago. It didn't make national headlines, but they were shot in the face and thrown in the woods. Yeah, I mean, that's just terrible. But it's true. Yeah, they were big words. Advantageous. Delphi case was botched, so blood boiling. But was it botched though? Like, was Delphi actually botched? I don't know if it's botched. I mean, it's definitely taken some time to get where, could it have been solved faster? I don't know, probably. But we're so hypercritical of law enforcement and detectives and investigators. And I can tell you right now, I've worked, let me see, how many homicides have I worked? So it's like 2 times 4 is 8 minus 3 divided by 2. Carry the 1. I think that brings us to 0. And, I don't really have it in me to tell them what to do, how to do it, because I don't know. I'm not here pretending that I have the answers, but I am here to think critically. Martha says, Josh, do you think people feel it should be more like the TV show, like First 48? So here's the thing about the First 48. If you listen to what they say at the beginning of that show, your chances of solving a case are cut in half if you don't get a lead in the first 48. A lead. Something to work off of. Not solve the case in 48 hours. A lead. Big difference. Okay. So I get that. Yeah. And you're right. The 48 hours, the first 48 are crucial. Obviously everybody knows that. But they're not saying, hey, we got to solve this in 48 hours or we can't solve it. It's only about a lead. Because if you notice, sometimes those cases take weeks, but they're chasing leads. They have to chase leads. They have to do their due diligence until somebody has a photo of this person with a knife in their hand and blood on it and, you know, social security number. You know what I mean? But it's not yes, it's not like CSI. It's not like the show Bones or whatever the hell that thing is. And it is frustrating. It's frustrating that these kind of crimes happen. It's frustrating and sickening that these kind of crimes happen and that people are suffering. But I'm telling you right now, with Mr. Consalves, is that right? Yeah, I was right, huh? I think that people get in his ear. I think they get in his ear. And Joey says they had the best lead and a hoodie guy and they blew it. This guy killed them people. Right. I mean, how do you know that? You don't. You don't. You're just saying that. I need you to put, in my opinion, before you say something like that, because that's the kind of crap that hurts the family, the investigation. People get gaslit by it. It's like a dog whistle. All my conspiracy theorists, let's all jump together. Conspiracy. You don't know that, Joey. You have no clue. And people are in the Father's ear saying this isn't going to get solved unless you do something about it. And shame on those people. And Joey, shame on you for saying something like that. Because it's not right. You don't know that. You can assume and think it and have an opinion about it. But it is not a fact what you're saying. And the fact that you go around stating things like that as a fact is a major issue. Because it's not. It's not a fact. And they blew it. So you're telling me that if this case is solved and hoodie guy, and I don't know if he has anything to do with it or not. But if you're telling me, okay, Joey, I do know. I've studied serial murder for years. First of all, this is a mass murder. Okay. This isn't a serial murder. It's not classified as a serial killing. So right away, Joey, I think you're wrong. And I don't think you know what the hell you're talking about. But, you know, that's just me. And I'm not saying that I know anything more than you, other than you really do not know anything about this case more than anybody. You don't. And like I said, and the fact that you go around just spurting stuff off, saying this and that and this, and come on, man. Like have a little, you know, humility. Have a little. I mean, this is the stuff that sends. Oh God. Huh? Coy's in the house. What's up? Okay, here we go again. Bro, I found the Green River Killer 9 years before he was arrested. I'm sure you did, buddy. It's like stupid. People are like, yeah. Go hang out with Travis, dude. Seriously, it's just so weird. You're weird, man. Like, come on. I was trying to be nice, and now I'm pissed off at you. And you know, you're an idiot.
Sucker-muckagus.
You really are. Drives me nuts. It drives me nuts. Like, what, you know, whatever. Stephanie says, absolutely love your show. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. So my question would be to Joey is, if you are in fact, Sherlock Holmes and you know so much about serial murder, whatever the hell that is, serial murder. Is that what he said? Serial murder. Serial murder, Joey. Uh-oh. Love Pink just went hard. Did he say something? I didn't even see what he said. I know serial murder. Yeah, everybody on here knows. Let's see. Okay, let me bring up. I know serial murder. I know it for a fact. I know it for a fact. I've studied serial murder. All right, here we go. Oh, shiza. Listen to this, people. Detectives are interested. Detectives are interested in speaking with the occupants of a white 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra with an unknown license plate. Tips and leads had led investigators to look for additional information about a vehicle being in the immediate area of the King Street residence during the early morning hours of November 13th. Investigators believe the occupants of this vehicle may have critical information to share regarding this case. If you know of or own a vehicle matching this description or know of anyone who may have had been driving this vehicle on the days preceding or days of the murder, please forward that information. God, that gave me chills. That's big time. Hey, Joey, do you think the hoodie guy drives that car? Don't you think they know what car he drives? Mr. I studied serial kill. I studied serial murder. I'm going to read this again. Actually, I'm going to share the screen too. Oh man, that seriously just, weird, huh? And shout out, who was that? Huh? They said that? Shout out Glass Garden. I don't care what Joey's doing. Joey can go mess with himself. Glass Garden, thank you so much for shouting that out. And there's what they're looking for, folks. Right there. They want to talk to these people, and they want to talk to them right away. Once again, this is just being released, folks. Just now. Moscow, Idaho detectives are interested, and that's code word for we want to talk to you, in speaking with the occupants, possible plural, of a white 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra with an unknown license plate. Tips and leads have led investigators to look for additional information about a vehicle being in the immediate area of King Street. And it's not a very big road. King Street residents during the early morning hours of November 13th. Investigators believe the occupants, possibly plural, of this vehicle may have critical information to share regarding this case. If you know of or own a vehicle matching this description, or know of anyone who may have been driving this vehicle on the days preceding or days of the murder, please forward that information to the tip line. And then there's the tip line right there. Your information, whether you believe it is significant or not, might be the piece of the puzzle that helps investigators solve these murders. And if you don't think for 1 second that they purposely threw this out there because they're like, hey, it's not a big town, people are going to know exactly who that is. They're going to find that out fast. I thought I did show the car. So here it is. That's what they're looking for. Hey, what the heck? Okay, well, it just keeps doing that. And so there is the first major piece of the puzzle from the police. They obviously want to talk to the owner or occupants of this car, and not because they like their vehicle. Okay. I don't understand why they don't look up everyone who has this car registered in the area and state. I'm sure that they are, but I also think that this is also a tactic. It's a police tactic. All right. I mean, this is very significant stuff. And that's wow. That's some breaking news for you, huh? So what does that change? Does that change anything? Where's Joey? Did Joey get banned? Is Joey banned for now? He's banned. Okay. Makes sense. All right, folks. I mean, this is what they're looking for. This is what they're looking for. Huh? No, nobody's clicked the link. That's fine. I got to get out of here in a few minutes anyway. All right, one more time for good measure, because this is extremely important. Moscow, Idaho detectives are interested in speaking with the occupants of a white 2011-2013 Hyundai Elantra with unknown license plate. Tips and leads have led investigators to look for additional information about this vehicle being in the immediate area of the King Street residence during the early morning hours. I mean, this is so significant. Like, this is huge. This is huge. Wow. Huge. If you know of or own a vehicle matching this description, they want to talk to you. And right now. They want to talk to you immediately. Let's see here. You knew it, Josh. They're working on it, and they know more than we all know. Thank you, Josh. This is why I love coming here for information. Oh, and your sparkling personality, of course. Thank you. I didn't know what they have, or I still don't know what they have, but I do understand that this is, I mean, they've interviewed. They stated that they've interviewed some people 2 or 3 times now. Even if they've been ruled out, they're like, hey, get back here. It means nothing. Okay, ruling out means nothing. And they obviously, with this right here, they know something more. They probably have some sort of video evidence, and they just cannot make out the license plate because a lot of that CCTV, which is closed circuit television, which is short for a home surveillance, usually grainy, especially at night. Yeah. Especially at night. And, yeah, so this is going to get very interesting. Matter of fact, and I was going to do a show tonight about summer. I'm going to move that to tomorrow, and we're going to talk more about this tonight. And I'm sure everybody and their great grandma are going to start picking up on this. And it's just going to be wild speculation, and more people are going to get accused that have nothing to do with anything. But, a lot of people like that stuff. So have fun with that. But if you want to have a normal discussion, hang here. Let's see. Clear today, cuff tomorrow. Yeah, exactly. I unfortunately, I say unfortunately, have to go pick up my child from school, so that'll be fun. But we'll keep tracking this. Be back at 7 tonight. Thank you guys for being here. I'm your host, Joshua Diaz. Thank you so much. Nope, not that one. That's the wrong one.